I just cannot come to terms with how much I enjoy the fact that I have a button that allows me to do that kind of mad fade-in thing. It takes very little to amuse me, which is just as well, really, because there's very little out there to be amusing at the minute. It's Mantic Monday. Welcome to Mantic Monday. I'm on my own. Ronnie is coming, but, you know, lockdown, clocks, watches, wearing things. He has communicated that he will be here, but you know what he's like at the best of times. He still hasn't managed to master closing the blinds really very well at all. But, you know, such is life. Today, however, we will be chatting, and I'm not going to fill the air with it now, but we will be chatting about WOFCON and, of course, the big fight. Hopefully finding out a little bit about what Ronnie has done to prepare, whether he has actually painted all his miniatures. He has, of course, done all that lovely terrain, and frankly, good enough reason to log in and watch some of that when they're going to say televising it. You're not really supposed to say that when it's the internet, so you're not supposed to say streaming it, you know, and get with the right vocab and all, like we care. But yeah, he will hopefully be along shortly at that. I could send him another invite, because I can do things like that. I can go send an invite. But you know what? Like, it happens to the best of us. He could be sitting on the loo. He could have fallen down that hole in his study, or he could have just broken his computer. Any of these things can happen. Next week, however, I'm gonna throw in what we're going to be talking about next week on Mantic Monday. Next week, we're going to be lifting the lid on Star Saga. Hopefully that's the right way around for you people at home. I don't know if it is or not, but if it's not, reverse it and look at the back instead. This is like the Dungeon Bash crawl in space version in their sci-fi universe. It's a hefty big thing too. It's rather nice. I have to say though, I'm not actually getting to play it. This was like a little done deal between a chum and me. There's Ronnie now. So I'm getting the terrain out of it. He's taking the rest of the game because apparently he doesn't really care about the terrain. However, he's joined us now. Shh, he doesn't know that we're live already, so we'll just pretend we haven't started, okay? And we'll just do
Okay, so you've definitely I was downstairs getting my toys, started talking to the children, distraction ensued.
That's exactly
what... It wasn't 2 minutes to 1, it was 3 minutes past.
Listen, that's what I said. I was busy telling everybody you're the CEO of a major miniatures company. We can't just expect you to drop everything and talk to people about toy soldiers.
I dropped everything. I would have dropped my army. I was downstairs getting my army for the big battle, so it would have been a disaster if I dropped everything. I don't drop it when I'm painting it as it is and have to glue it back together. So
that would have been horrendous. But Ronnie, the big fight. This is the first big thing on the Mantic calendar this year. This is the season's big event. Forget the NFL.
Since you know what, since lockdown started, this is our first. So when lockdown came, one of the things that I wanted to do for a while was kind of tart up the scenery and finish off the Mantic HQ kind of top table stuff. We've got the tiles from Secret Weapon. We've got some lovely terrain, some made by Nick Williams, some other stuff that we've had for years. But some bits just needed a bit of a touch up. The trees were all a bit different styles and everything else. the tiles, the rivers hadn't been filled in with the with the clear stuff. So there was just a number of things that really to make it top draw. And I thought that would be a good project for me to do during lockdown, where I could just dip in and have half an hour. And I'd always wanted to do this, the resin clear effect. So I've never quite managed to build up the courage to do that. So it was kind of nice bite size, learning new things, lockdown stuff. As we were doing it, we talked about getting on with making a big battle game once this was over. It was going to be kind of part of the summer campaign, which is where we play a more narrative game in the summer, and then Clash of Kings book at the end of the year is a kind of catch up of new rules. So that's more rules orientated. So we're going to do a big summer campaign this year, and then and that was going to form the beginning or end of it to go alongside the book. But that's obviously taken a back stage because we've not been able to play test and get that done. So we just started chatting and said, yes, we've got our big, huge mega battle coming up this weekend.
When you were doing all the painting, Ronnie, I mean, did it feel like a chore? Once this was all sort of set in stone, was it a chore, or did you get time to enjoy it?
Kind of built the scenery before we set this date going, to be honest. So it was done when it was done. And the only bit that was really hard really was the trees, because there was the wood plus gluing them down, and then we were going to use those ones with the plastic frames and you glue the clumps on.
Yeah.
And I did some of them that way, but in actual fact I had quite a nice collection of the other pre-glued and coloured ones. So I went through that and just sorted them into themes. So the only bit that was a bit grindy was the woods. I don't suspect we'll use all the terrain I've done, but now we have enough for 2 full 6x4 gaming tables. So that when we've got our top table set up, and I think Justin over at Secret Weapon is sending me a couple more, because then we can have them with or without water. So, sometimes it's good fun to have that, but other times that can be disruptive to the gameplay. So, it didn't feel like a bind. I've got a couple of units to paint this week, and then we've just got to get on to Easy Army and start building all our army lists. There's going to be Northern Alliance and Dwarfs, or Dwarfs and Northern Alliance, versus Abyssal Dwarfs and Goblins.
I have to say, I love the posters that you guys have done for it.
That's very good, isn't it?
That's a lot of fun.
It's nothing to do with me. That's all Matt. That's all Rob.
It's very good. I like also featuring people who hopefully know how to play.
Yes, we need a few of those. I think it's going to be an intensive week. I mean, we've done it all our life. How hard can it be? Yeah, but it's actually the errors of. I played a big battle a couple of years ago. I haven't played enough. So I was having some fun. It was actually a smaller game in terms, it was quite condensed. And I basically put something in front of something that couldn't be moved quickly, and it just completely shut down my whole right wing. Because everything was just like a big traffic jam. There was too much terrain on it. So it's stuff like that you just go, and that was my kind of swing. I was going to swing out of the right with some Rock Riders and a Steel Behemoth, and none of it even moved. It just all got stuck there and then shot to bits. So it's just making sure we set up right, which is an important part of this game, and that's what you don't kind of know until you've done it a few times. So we'll just have to get our thinking heads together and make sure we don't trap our fast units behind our slow ones or other dumb things.
We have visions of you sort of arriving up and everyone sort of looking to you as being the guru of all knowledge. And you going, I'm really looking forward to this, my first proper game of Kings of War.
Yeah, no, I've played a few, but it's been a while since it's been so busy since the launch of 3rd edition. We had a very busy, because we were shipping the Hellboy Kickstarter Wave 2, plus straight into Kings of War, right at the end of the year, straight into the Uncharted Empires book, Christmas. Come back from Christmas, start seeing all the impacts of coronavirus at the same time as me getting out to kind of Australia to see the scene there, and the Masters. I mean, there was other things on with those trips. So always the beginning of the year is all the toy show seasons, toy fair seasons. So literally Jan, Feb was that. And then all of a sudden COVID's here, and crisis time, and trying to cope with all that's throwing at us.
Get used to the new life. I must say, it's nice. I mean, whilst I've seen Mantic stuff appear in different places, it's funny enough. Hellboy is one of the first times that I've been really conscious of seeing ads from different shops or different companies all talking about Hellboy, especially like the wee paint sets and things like that for it. So it's nice to see that's finally sort of filtering out there.
That's, that's what a big lifestyle that gave you, I think. What's happened?
You know the way your army didn't hit the floor?
Yours just did.
One of mine did. Oh well, I had a night off tonight anyway, so that'll give me something to do.
There you go, a bit of remodelling, reworking.
Now I've got a floor in my study room, a floor as well.
Right. Yeah.
Oh dear. But Ronnie,
so Hellboy kind of broke out, and because it was probably a very traditional board game, more than even The Walking Dead, which was more of a kind of skirmish game. Well, it was a skirmish game. Board game companies kind of picked it up. It does mean it's a different profile. There isn't the same kind of add-on sales with the later waves because it's a board game. It's more traditionally done and dusted.
Yeah.
We've got some miniature angles in there, and we do more than most. We're just putting out this week Hecate and Baba Yaga. So you've got some new end-level bosses, so you can just take them, add them to your game. It's kind of that idea of a bit of a toy soldier expansion with some new kits without you having to buy a whole new expansion. But it is far more in the mold of the traditional board game.
But it is kind of annoying in a way that you don't get all the credit you're due. Funny, before you came on, I was just sort of saying to people, I was holding up Star Saga and saying next week going to talk about Star Saga. Yeah, but Star Saga is a board game. And there's plenty of board games that you'll walk into your local gaming store and lift off the shelf that even when you get home, there's things inside it that need assembled. So, things like Star Saga should be on the average shelf right beside the other traditional board games because it delivers the same goods. Yeah, there's a wee bit of building to going on, but, it's a bit unfair.
I think it's the changing nature of the market. I think Kickstarter... had we produced that a few years ago when there was so much less competition and it was a crossover board game, miniature game, kind of hybrid, a la Dungeon Saga, I think it would have been bigger. I think, League of Infamy, we've just done the same. We've done a kind of dungeon crawling, play the bad guys. It was a very funny twist. It's got light playability, but there's just the board game market, pure board game market, particularly on Kickstarter, now uses miniatures whether you need to or not.
Yeah.
And because these companies are making one game every 2 years and having everything sculpted and everything else, they're just in a different place than we are in terms of what we need from our range. So, we can't compete. But for us, something like Hellboy lifts it to a higher place quicker than spending. We just don't have the freedom to not bring games out kind of every 6 months.
I know what you mean. It's just a shame.
We enjoy it. Vanguard, League of Infamy, out they come. They're great models. They'll stay in the range in different ways. But we don't make, by our nature, blockbuster games because we have too many other things to do. We can't shut everything down for 6 months and make one board game that may or may not do well on Kickstarter because we've got a Kings of War book coming out, we've got something for Dead Zone coming out, we'll have something for Walking Dead coming out. So we have a far more small and often release schedule than big and irregular. But it does at times make you go, oh bloody hell, I deserve to do better than that. League cracking game, biddable plastics, but because it isn't classic board game for the board game market, and it's not a war game for the war game market or a skirmish game, it can sometimes slip in between.
There's a sort of a grey area. But talking about grey areas, never mind grey areas. This big fight then, Ronnie the Boss Renton with finally tabling all his dwarves. Are we going to see a Ronnie win? Are you going to get to keep your cap? Or you?
Oh yeah, they're dead easy. Dwarves have nothing to fear.
This is going to be a walk in the park.
The only other problem is they've got dwarves too. and they've got quite a few war machines. The dwarf army, actually, the abyssal dwarf army, you probably can't see.
Not in the light, but you've shown us that.
I can show you with my genius.
Oh, look at that! He's on fire! Very flash.
So that's my Walking Dead collection. That's Walking Dead plus very old miniatures from before most of your viewers were born. And that's the Abyssal Dwarf army. Got a couple of those big Earthshaker cannons, mortars that are very powerful. So they might just forget those on Saturday. Oh, sorry, I couldn't fit them in the box.
Oh, but here, that's the thing. You were talking a while back when we first started talking. Actually, you were pointing at your old classic dwarves on the bottom shelf, saying, "Do you know what? I don't get to use them. I'll maybe sell them. Are they going to get out on the table on Saturday?"
Well, that's the debate. I'm going to add up my points and see how many we come to.
But you're the boss. You're allowed to cheat.
I'm absolutely ready to cheat. And I'll do anything to beat. Absolutely anything's going to go. And over the course of this week, if you stay on the blogs, if you visit the Mantic page and have a look at the blogs, we're writing blogs and everything else, I'll reveal some of my nasty tricks, but we'll save most of those for game day because there is all manner of nefarious behaviours going on. So I wonder whether I just go in and plunder my old dwarf collection and give them one last hurrah.
Yeah, you should. Definitely. They're there.
Certainly, I've got no berserkers, and they're a good unit to just stand and do damage and just take a charge because they don't run away. So a unit like that might just block up some of his key units. So there's going to be an online debate. We'll do one of those online quizzes, and people can vote whether we bring them or not.
Definitely. Well, I'm going to start the campaign for you should bring them because they've sat there, they've served you loyally on the shelf, sat looking at you, working away on other games and other miniatures. They deserve a day out after their lockdown.
Final hurrah!
Yeah. And you know what? If they do really well for you, it might allow you to see them in a new light and they might become a more regular feature to your gaming table.
No, sorry, mate. Pure Mantic. This is the Pure Mantic. So let's have a look at some of the. So this is the schemes. Interestingly, they've got a similar colour scheme. This is a bit more earthy and gritty, actually.
Oh, we've got that. Nice.
Greater Earth Elemental. All detailed up. So I'm showing you some big fun stuff. And there's a Steel Behemoth. So these are very much kind of what Mantic's added to dwarf armies.
Yeah.
Didn't exist before. Really good fun.
Lovely.
And kind of chomping along. Got 3 of those in the whole army. Obviously, there's I don't need to spend time. We've got the mandatory cannons. We probably don't have enough of those painted up. I've got one more on the painted table. But probably we're under in what we need to beat them on that side. One of the key units is going to be, and it's going to be decisive, is our Brock Riders.
Nice.
So these are dwarf cavalry.
Yeah.
And these have got some real punch. They got turned down between level game 2 and 3, but they're still pretty punchy. I'm going to need those to do some serious damage to hold up where they're going to hold. And then I said, probably not quite got enough shooting for a dwarf army. But we do have lots of, that's my colour scheme, the green and the blue.
Very good.
And this was my final unit, which was what I'm most pleased with in this. So the first couple of units were very kind of standard. And then towards the end, I started getting a bit more adventurous. There was a big rock in the middle. We've taken a couple of the Vanguard models and changed the head for a plastic head. They've got metal body, so there's just a bit more movement. And
brilliant. Very nice. Very nice indeed.
So we're going to have some fun with that. It's going to look very pretty.
Absolutely. It is a nice thing. We see.
Just got one of my youngsters.
Oh.
Smuggling in here. He's crawling in. There you go. Good eye. There you go.
Nobody can see me, Dad.
No, we've got to do the attack.
Right. Yeah. Okay. I'm just on the live streaming at the moment.
Yeah. Hello.
We've got a clan. Hello. We've got a clan war attack.
Right. Well, listen. We'll not hold you too much longer. It's one of the things I was going to say about your war machines, and that is another thing that I can't help but notice. they are turning up in all sorts of places. When I'm obviously follow a lot of painting blogs and different clubs and different games,
Right.
and Mantic little machines or creature machines are turning up in all sorts of places. So it's nice to see at least the miniature range is spread out.
No, and principally that's what we are. That's why we don't do those huge board games, because ultimately we're a miniatures company, and that's what I know, and that's what we do. And I've played a few board games, but I'm not a board game aficionado. I'm a miniatures aficionado. In a board gamer's house, that cupboard is filled with games, and they've been playing that for 30, 40 years of their life.
Yeah.
That's what I've been doing, so you just have to honor where you come from, and that's fine. I'm very relaxed about that.
No, listen, there's
it's
not
what we
to be
do.
ashamed
It's great
of.
fun. Our zombies appear on air armors everywhere. They appear in armies because they're just so flexible. They're a great prize. People can pile high. Everyone saw one that's thousands of them, that kind of giant, like stream, like out of the Mummy kind of.
Yeah,
like
and World War Z as well.
Build them up.
Yeah, I still love the Mantic goals, like the very first goals that you guys brought out. I think they're class. They just have so much character to them.
Still tripping along. I signed an order for those this week.
But that was the thing. Even
our stuff is just slowly getting out there, and I think people are a lot more playing D&D. They need a good group of minis and our terrain features, but now they're also looking at other things we do.
But that's what I say. Even your basic guys, like in any other company, the basic guys would all be vanilla. But even the sort of the static basic guy out of the Mantic range has personality. It's got movement and life in it, like the flipping goals. And I mean, I remember painting a batch of them for a big game, and even just though I had a box of guys all the same pose, they seemed to paint up differently, and each one kind of had its own little sort of tweak about it, which was cool. I love it. It's class.
Yeah. Now we're all been across compatibility. You can use the ghouls' legs on the zombies and vice versa. So you just add a couple of those sprues in, and it'll just give you a whole load more different movement and shapes and everything else. So there's always just that bit of, we just design it with the kind of regiment in mind, or again, wanted figurative. Because we're miniature people, that's what we do. We just build it in. We know what we look for when we're gaming, and we like choice.
Yeah, and it works. No, fair play to you. Well, listen, we're
so that's only one of the boxes.
There's another one. He's got a big army.
There's another dwarf army in there. That's Rob Burnham's dwarf army. That's the rest of my dwarfs, and the studio armies in there.
Oh, look at that. Oh, you had your little video up. You had them all out on the dining room table.
Say what?
You had your video of them all out on the dining room table, which was class.
Yes, that was Nottingham House of the weekend, and there's a load more in here. So, whether you do Brock Riders and what have you. So we've got a decent force. I mean, we're also at the bit more elite end of the troops and the goblins, but still, it's not going to be. I don't know if it's enough. I don't know if we've got enough. But there we are. We'll try our best. Plucky dwarfs, always outnumbered.
Absolutely. No, well, hopefully it'll all go well for you. The boy says you have the power of right on your side, and you've also got the power of
definitely have that.
Yeah, and you've got the power of cancelling paychecks.
Yeah. And if not, we'll be valiantly like the 300, like the Spartans, holding back the tide to protect the things.
I was going to say it would be lovely to see you and your team stand on the chairs singing "Men of Harlech" at the weekend.
That was a good idea.
Yeah.
It's a dwarven song. Someone sent me a dwarven video, Dig, Dig, Diggy Dig, which is a YouTube thing. Some crazy Norwegian band or something singing about being a dwarf. So,
class. Well, Ronnie, listen, before you go, because I know you've still got painting to do, where are people sitting now? Because I know last week we were talking, you were sort of hoping there was going to be a bit of movement on the terrain crate and things like that. Has anything changed in the big picture for you?
Yeah, so I've done a video actually. We're going up later this week for backers. We got the first 3 flown in, so I've just done an unboxing. The boat is arriving on the 17th, so Wednesday. So from the 22nd, we'll have unpacked and start just getting a few test boxes out, a few first dispatches out next week.
Brilliant.
By the first week of July, very last week of June, we'll be back up to full speed, and we'll be getting out 200 to 300 boxes a day.
Happy days.
So, yeah, Terrain Crate 2 is on its way. It's imminent. The boat is off the coast of the UK now, docking in the next day or two, and then the goods up to us by Monday. So, check your inbox. You've got a video. I'm unboxing 3 out of the 4 boxes that we have, so you can have a look what's in there and what they look like, and they look fantastic.
Class. Well, that'll be a load off your mind.
Yeah, exactly. Another thing done, and it's been a challenge with all of the changes that have been going on, but we're there, and we're delivering, and that's the key. And people know that when they Ronnie and Mantic Kickstarter, going to get it.
Well, by the looks of things, you guys, to be honest, you've never stopped delivering, because you just put the head down and got on with fixing things rather than complaining about them. You just came up with solutions, so it's great. And I know I ordered a few bits and bobs, and like even with skeleton staff, they were here in a day or two. So
yeah, no, they've been working hard. We've got a few out of stocks now, so everyone's back in actually this week to restock, get ready for the Kickstarter to arrive. Full resin team's working. Obviously, we just got to make sure it's safe for everybody that's working, but everybody's in their own section. Everyone's got 5 meters plus between them and the next person, so there's plenty of space.
Happy days.
So yeah, it's good.
Excellent. Well, pass on our appreciation for their hard work and efforts. And the boy says we will look forward to watching you stride triumphantly to victory at the weekend.
So probably newsletter. If you're not signed up to that, sign up to that, and you'll get links and blogs all week. It's going to be going on Facebook is our primary channel. We'll be getting Instagram up as well. Be there at 2 o'clock on Facebook, 2 p.m. UK time. So morning for the Americans. I was going to say it's coffee time for the Americans. It's kind of first beer of the day for the English, and drunk as buggers by for the Australians and New Zealanders. But jump online. We'll have links to whatever we're going to stream. We probably won't stream the whole thing, because then you realise we don't know the rules and we've been making it up. But certainly we'll be having updates at the end of each turn, and we're just going to do it in a socially responsible way too. So.
Good stuff. I'm sure it'll be a good crack. It'll be lovely to see something big like that happen, and that'll be a morale lift.
We'll have banter, and we'll have some good chit chat going on during the day, so be able to interact.
Well, it'll be a morale lift for you guys, and it'll be a morale lift for everybody watching as well.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what we want it to be, and it to be a bit of fun. And people haven't been able to play Kings of War. I think a few have just started now in some states in the US or NOS, but it's hard. And so seeing a game just gets your juices flowing again. And,
Brilliant. Well, Ronnie, we're at our half hour. You normally now have to run and get your lunch. The big fella looks like he needs you to help him with a technical issue there too.
It's got to be done in the lunch hour as well, so it's a busy lunch hour. Roll some food down and a clash of cans attack.
Well, listen, as always, it's been a pleasure getting to chat with you. Lovely to catch up. The best of luck for the weekend, and we will be watching. And if you start looking like you're losing, we will be very cross and be very negative.
It's not looking like I'm losing. The table's going over.
Flip it all.
This is a stupid game anyway. Who invented this?
Whose idea was this?
Crappy dice. The whole. You've seen Let the Wookiee win.
Yeah.
That's where we're going. There's no dignity in defeat.
If you were wanting to go with Let the Wookiee win, I maybe wouldn't have gone for the haircut quite so quickly.
Yeah, could have gone full. I could have pulled that off by now. I think it would have just been a look like Captain Caveman.
Very good. Well, we've the post up for it there. The posters are beside our faces if we've been chatting all day. So, folks, take notice. Not beside you, beside us on the TV screen. Folks, take note of the dates. Clear your calendars for Saturday afternoon, Saturday morning. Just clear your calendars for all day Saturday.
Yeah, pop on in.
Yeah.
Say hi to us. We'll be taking questions and what have you. So, it's great fun.
And I will be listening closely for a dwarven version of Men of Harlech. I'll be very disappointed if I don't hear it.
Dwarves of Harlech.
Exactly. You've got the voice for it. You're a baritone.
Nice little music. Anyway, there we are.
Right. We'll see you later on, Ronnie. Be good.
Everybody. See you online on Saturday. Bye-bye.
Cheers all. Bye-bye.